Welcome to ELT After Hours, where English teaching gets real. No buzzwords.
No sugarcoating, just two teachers unpacking what actually happens between theory and the classroom.
I'm Fu. I bring the classroom chaos and the real life stuff nobody puts in the methodology book.
I'm Ken. I bring the methodology book and tons of academic research.
We don't always agree.
But we always go deep.
If you're tired of pretty slides and vague answers, you're in the right place.
So grab your tea, or don't, but let's talk.
Are you lately? Since it's
Busy.
busy. Are you hosting something at the U.S. Embassy? I saw a post last week, weeks ago. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I'm not hosting it. So the funny thing is, so there was an event in the U.S. Embassy, right? And it was about board games, American board games, they say. I, came there with an expectation of playing games for once, not, hosting games. Yeah, I was really hoping to play games and not, being the one who have to explain the rules for everyone. But yeah, came there. Um, sat through some quick presentation from their personnel, and they, have everyone to play games. And some of the hosts, some of the staff, they didn't know how to play games, even though they host a board game event.
What? No.
Yeah. So, well, luckily at that time, I was there with some of my designers, some of my board game developers fellow, so that yeah, we knew most of the games there, so they didn't know how to play, so we just, all right, we will help you out, we will kind of like show you how to play and technically become the hosts of that day. So yeah, that is something. And after the event, I kind of like stick around and talk to them, kind of like telling them what I have been doing with board games, and yeah, ask them if they need help with next events. I'm willing to help, So yeah, that's the whole story of it, which is wild. Imagine you and Miss Emma hosting like a workshop or something, but you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that is wild. Like, what? So, what if you guys weren't there? What would they gonna do? Like, what? So,
Well,
oh my God, that is so
they
weird.
yeah, they would just play werewolf and call it a day.
Yes, yes. And Uno, that werewolf Uno. That's all everybody knows
Yeah,
those.
that's right.
Uh, okay, so you became the hero.
Well, how would you say that? Like the unexpected hero or the
Mhm.
situational hero?
Yeah, I'm thinking a situational hero, maybe. So again, yeah, that's why people call you game expert. That's why you're a lifesaver
Well,
machine.
yeah, I don't know. It's a good thing or not. Like to be a game expert, you have to play a lot of games, which technically turn you into a nerd, a geek, some sort. Well, but I think I can rock that title proudly and loudly.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing so many like I'm gonna say impactful, inspirational thing in the field now with your activities, with your game thing. I saw your post the other day about the system. I think personally, I think it was a little bit sensitive to mention the system. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, wow. I mean, like the idea is just from my personal conversation with my professor back in the day.
Ah.
He, yeah, he used the word. I mean, at the time, I didn't think about it much, but as I kind of like share it to some of my closest friends, they say that, my professor used some very strong words, but I didn't really notice at that point. But I mean, it's fair to say that, it's fair to say that he was preparing me for the idea of whether or not I will follow the line, or I will get in the line, or I will go against the line. So I
Mm-hmm.
need to be so I need to be like crystal clear in terms of what I want to do in in my action, in my teaching approach. So, the strong language comes in, as a big time saver. But yeah, I didn't really expect it, like I shared with the teacher community, but I'm willing to share it with you more in details like right now. So when I talk about kind of like a top school in the district here is not just any district, it's Tân Phú district.
Mm.
And Tân Phú district being, in terms of educational field, they are being like one of the top districts, for for education. So being a part of the Tân Phú district and being in the top school of Tân Phú district brings a lot of pressures, not just for me though, but for my whole school.
Mm.
Because even like well, I came from Ho Chi Minh City Open University, and at that time we were neck to neck with educational university. How I don't know how to say the name, like Sư phạm. But yeah,
Pedagogical.
yeah, yeah,
Pedagogical.
yeah. So technically the whole pedagogical methodology
Mm.
university. Yeah, so that's the whole name. But yeah, we were going neck to neck with them. So everything we did were, like you said before, performative, and we had to, try our best every times we do something. So a
Mm.
lot of pressure, and at that time, I was the youngest among the teacher. So the teacher trainer, teacher trainees. I was the youngest among them because I was skipping, a lot of class, studying ahead of my course a lot. So, yeah, and being the youngest, but I was also being the vice monitor of the whole group.
Mm.
A lot of responsibility
Interesting.
for, yeah, for the youngest one there. And yeah, so a lot of stuff. And when I got to meet my students, we work mostly with 11th grade students, because I
Mm.
think, because the school thing, 11th grade is a good balance for new teachers, not too challenging, but at the same time give us enough challenges
Yeah.
to kind of like use our methods in real life. And of course, you having a lot of experience working with adults, working with young teenagers, how grade 11 students behave, right? Yeah. I think the key word here is rebellious. And
Exactly.
yeah, and they are very strong. They are very vocal. Oh, sorry, they are very vocal in expressing what they want, and expressing like they need. So as a teacher at that time, you really have to. I don't really understand like other teachers or other of my fellow peers. But when I step foot into the classroom, I really, really want to know what my students want to study, or
Mm.
their preferences, their hobbies, their ambitions. Because without knowing those things, it's just like you're talking to a wall. So why do they bother to listen to you? Is it because you're a teacher? I don't think so. Yeah. So a lot of my peers at that time thought they have some sort called like an assumed power or an assumed authority. Have you heard of that theory before?
Yes.
So yeah. So you know they wreak havoc into their classroom. So they always come to the class with a very strict face, like no
Mm,
smile, no funny business, everyone. But yeah, for me, it's just fun time, everyone.
mm,
And yeah, we study a lot of things. I did try to bring puppets, the hand puppets, inside the classroom for them to have role play activities. I showed them a lot of videos showing differences between breakfast all around the world. I gave them a lot of researching activities where they have to go online. They have to go online and search, about their some KOLs or influencers and talk about them. So a lot of things is in real life, and a lot of things is what really touched them, because
mm.
that's what they do all the time, and they love it. Except for the teacher trainers. I remember clearly, like my first, I I volunteer to be the first one to be the sacrificial lamb in my
What?
whole group. Everyone was saying that because everyone was so scared of the
Mm,
reputation of the school and the reputation of the of the teacher trainers. So yeah, I was like, well, let me do it. And my God, she did not disappoint us. She kind of like after the class, her face like completely poker face, right? She asked us to go into the teacher room for a
mm.
private conversation, and she spent 30 minutes to 45 minutes there bashing my whole lessons, pointing out like what I did wrong, and how I, you know, mess up the whole idea of teaching in public school. Even though she did point out some good points, but like the way how we as teachers were taught to give feedbacks for students,
Mm.
in the very standard days, like give them two good points at first and then bash them with 12 bad points later on. So yeah,
Sandwich technique.
and yep, and and at that point I share everything with the professor, and yeah, he gave me the ultimatum. Not like the ultimatum, but I I I feel like an ultimatum for myself. Now I stand in front of two options, like everyone would. Uh, be being a pleaser for the system,
Mm,
get in the line, or being champion for my students' needs and listen to my students, follow them. So yeah, look at me now. You know which option I chose, and
very obviously. I have to
yeah,
say, very obvious. But yeah, that actually, I think the wildest thing here is you even started doing it since you were still a trainee and you were training at a public school. I think that's the
yeah,
wildest thing. Like if you were just working at an English centers where you'll have more rooms to be creative, blah, 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 it's fine. But doing it at a public school, that's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Do you think people look at you or maybe even I don't know, did she say that you're different or
Oh yeah.
has anybody warned you not to be too different? Because the system already has its way. We all know that, right?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, like, not really, because the group that I went on for my teaching practicum is like completely new, like barely anyone knew about me, and I,
Mm,
vice versa. Because, like I told you, usually actually. I usually learn, or I usually spend my time with older classes in my
mm.
university.
Ah,
So
yeah.
technically, in the morning, I will follow like the main schedule of my year, but then in the afternoon and at night, I will spend extra time studying with older classes to kind of like skip ahead in the program. So yeah, nobody knows
What a
about
nerd.
me. Thank you.
What
But
the
yeah.
heck was that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the older classes. Well, when I say older, how 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 old do you imagine?
5 years older?
5 years older. Wow. I mean, yeah, it's reasonable. I studied with a class, with many classes, which have students who are well over 40 and studying to get their second degree, some of them who are already, a master or
Mm,
a professor already, but now they need an English diploma.
mm.
So, yeah, and I study with them, and I study with a lot of parents, I would say.
And you play games. Oh my God. That's so weird. That's
Yeah.
so weird. But I guess like impressive though. But I think like from how I'm imagining now, I think you weren't doing anything extreme, weren't you? I don't know, I'm not sure. I think sometimes we just try to get our students to enjoy class, but
Mm.
sometimes a bit of fun could be seen as suspicious. I I
Suspicious.
knew, yeah, some of my teachers, because well, I don't work for any institution, so I'm not gonna meet these
Mhm.
problems. But some of my teachers in the past, if our class has too much fun, as I
Mm.
remember, they would be questioned later because why was the lesson so fun? Blah 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 blah. What happened? You guys learn anything? Because people asked us that.
Uh,
But yeah, but I have a question for you. I may not have problems because I don't work for anyone, but I know that there are gonna be a lot of teachers because I post my experiences on Facebook, blah blah blah. I know that I'm gonna be judged by the method I'm using. And sometimes, like when I talked back and forth with other people, sometimes I would feel like maybe I am the problem and maybe the method is actually the problem. Have you
mm.
ever felt that way?
Oh,
Like
yeah. I
after
mean, like,
being, yeah, after receiving all those feedback and comments about your method now?
mm. So to, you know, to answer in short, yes, many times. To
Mm,
answer it long, I mean, yeah, when you decide to go against like the masses, of course, that is something that you should expect it, that you should have expected to meet, because like, I don't know. People have it's human nature to view different things with precautions,
mm,
It's in our instinct. So of course, when we do something differently, compared to others, people will have to, judge you. You have to criticize you first before, accepting it. So that's the risk that you take, The one thing that I can, over the years that I can share with teachers going through that phase, and something that I learned, pick up from the board game field, is that when you ask for feedbacks, you are open yourself to criticism, even
Yes.
with constructive ones or non-constructive one. So it's up to you to decide which feedback works best for you, which
Mm,
feedback would be most valuable for you, and which feedback would guide you into the direction that you want. Because at the end of the day, your supervisor, your manager, your teacher, trainer, your professors, they don't know you as much as you know yourself. So you're the only one who would be the best teacher for you. So take everything, take in, but then after taking in, filter them out to
exactly.
see which one would, go with you the most. And most importantly, I believe would be don't take things personally.
Personally, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think a lot of people when they take feedbacks, they take things too personal. Like, they think those feedback would be a personal attack to them, which,
Mm,
very wrong, and which is something I would think like they have some sort of problems with their ego or their, self-esteem that they cannot handle feedback or criticism. So it's something that I also teach my students when I give them feedback for writing. Like, they have the option of asking, question my feedbacks and not accepting if they feel that they don't need it. But
mm,
at the end of the day, as a teacher, I always show them, they show them the options that they can take, that they can choose, because I don't want to force them. I want to, let them.
mm,
So yeah, that. But also, I think there's a big part of the idea of traditional teaching method or the traditional learning process should be, through hardship, should be through difficulties.
mm,
And to those views, I believe you share the same thing with me as those views are a little bit archaic or obsolete because, these days there are tons and tons of research showing the connection between, you know, effective learning process with, joy, with the high level of enjoyment within
mm,
the classroom. And, and I also think, I don't know if you think about this, but because some teachers may have this idea because they as students themselves back in the day they went through such a hard time of gaining knowledge of being the best students. They went through all sort of ass whooping
yes.
and punishments and scoldings. So now if their students don't go through that, so don't go through those things, but achieve a higher goal than they could have ever been, there would be some sort of negative feelings, you know, for them.
Mm,
Because like why? Like I've been through worse. Why couldn't you? That
exactly.
sort of mentality. And when the student folded and when the student cannot go through what they've been, they call their students snowflakes, which is one of my most hated words,
Mm,
snowflake. So yeah, and I mean, like, why do we have that mentality? Why don't we want to better things? Why don't we strive for betterment? But we strive for, because I gone through, you have to go through it, like me.
it's
But yeah, what
generational
do you think about
trauma.
that?
It's
Yeah,
generational,
yeah, yeah, good, good.
right?
Yeah,
Yes,
generation trauma.
exactly. Especially I've seen the previous generations of teachers.
Mm,
It's also the all those fights of the older generations. talking about Gen Z and the younger generations, like we have been through hell.
Mm,
Why can't you suffer from
yeah.
pain, from difficulties? Why do we have to suffer? Well, we
Mm,
have different ways. We have so many different ways to solve a problem. We have so
mm,
many adaptable solutions. Why don't you
mm,
guys do it? Now we are doing it because I think the younger generation now, we should be the innovative generation to start
mm,
changing things. And if we keep staying in the traditional lane of torturing our students with all those plain and strict methods, and
mm.
we keep we keep our beliefs and we refuse to change,
No.
that's harsh for not
Yeah.
only us but especially for a generation and the
Mm.
younger generation. I mean, they're gonna be the ones that maybe change the world. I don't know, but we are torturing them with boredom. Why do we have to do it? But yeah,
Yeah.
as you said, and I when you mentioned feedback, I think I really really agree with you. But I also agree that sometimes we feedback is a must, but sometimes we
Mm,
have to take it selectively. Not
mm,
all. Yes, we can't listen to all, and we can't receive everything. Did you
yeah.
have you ever received any like questions from colleagues? Of course, that's
Mm.
like really really normal. But how about students? Have they ever, because they are also traumatized, especially if you are teaching teenagers. I think all of them are traumatized by the obsessions of doing tests and
Mm.
test preparation. Have you ever received anything from any of your students when you bring games to the classroom?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, it's a common question for them to ask, like,
Is it common, really?
like, well, because a lot of my students, they are from gifted schools, and
Mm,
they are from top high schools in Hanoi. So whenever I do something weird or I bring something unorthodox, they will question me like, how can how can I use
yeah,
this in the test, or how can I use it in the IELTS? And of course, it's obvious because they are at the point of so stressed out in their mind that everything needs to be connected to the test. Everything needs to, help them to gain that 8 point in IELTS,
yeah,
stuff like that. And actually, I encourage them to question everything. And I'm very happy to listen to their questions. And but as teachers, everything I do is intentional, and I just show them or just told them like, hey, we are using descriptive adjectives to play a game. Like usually I play the game of Yuki. Yeah, we use descriptive adjectives to describe our dreams. Do you know where we will use descriptive adjectives? So they will kind of like answer. Some would say writing, some would say speaking. But then I said, well, yeah, speaking, and especially speaking part two, because when you describe about something, you need to use a lot of advanced descriptive adjectives to be very specific in your description.
mm,
So yeah, everything. But so after a few times that they question me, they start to gain a belief, gain a trust in me that I know everything that I do, and everything is due for the attention of them learning English and using those English. It's not just the exams, but also, preparing for their university and their, school life. So, I mean, like, I guess the thing that you would have to go through first is gaining their trust.
exactly.
As teachers, I as teachers, there's a lot of we have a lot of assumptions. One of the biggest and most toxic assumption is that we think because of our age, because of our role, we think that students need or must give their trust in us.
Mm,
But in
yeah,
fact, I believe that the trust should be earned, not be
exactly.
given. So yeah, like when you earn their trust, everything becomes so smoothly.
Mm,
Everything you do, like you have your own believers, you have your own little people to support you and to help you execute different ideas. So that's also the idea of being rapport with your students as well. And I believe that you also have this sort of thing when, sharing with your adult class, right?
yeah,
Earning their
it's just
trust.
like being a cult leader. Leaders. Imagine you're leading a cult, right? You're leading
Carl
your
Manson.
you're leading your people. And if your people, I mean, okay, thinking about this, now I think being a cult leader is not easy at all because you have to earn trust from your people. And to earn trust is it takes time, it's a process, and you have to give in the efforts, not just by
Mm,
okay, you bring in something, they can't question it. They have to
mm,
believe in you automatically.
mm,
How? No, you have to earn it. And by
mm,
earning it, you are also letting them trust in the methods and also trust themselves to get loose a little bit, to have
mm,
fun on this journey. I think, yeah, that's how. So, teachers, I mean, when we mention this, if we have to simplify it, I'm gonna use the example of being a cult leader. I just thought about it, but now I think there are so many similarities between being a
very
teacher.
fitting.
Yeah, oh, for real, for real. But yes, for you, you are teaching test preparation. So I think sometimes when people question the method, I think it's reasonable. But sometimes for
Mm,
me, I mean, again, for example, Doc May, it's still a very new approach in Vietnam, in our country. So a lot of them, when they came to me, they questioned a lot. Like they would prefer having a textbook because, even adults, we are used to learning, like we're gonna write all the vocabulary in our notebooks or something. We need something to depend on. Like, yeah, but I mean for real, from my experience when I was a student or when I learned something, I never opened my notebook to revise all the words and anything I note down. I never did it. I don't know if you ever did it as a nerd. So I think, I don't know, but
what it says.
I
But
never,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So again, it's exactly like you mentioned. We have to earn trust from them and we have to prove to them that trust me, trust the method and trust your abilities without
Mm,
depending on anything, the system or the materials or anything. You are already the material, so you
yeah.
have to trust in that first. So I think it's
Yeah.
both way. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, like to have your student trust in you, you know
Mm.
what's the first step you need to do?
Tell me.
You need to trust in yourself first.
Yes. Yes. If you work
That
in
seems
your,
easy, huh?
yeah,
That
it's
seems
always
easy, but
easier than
no, it's an uphill battle. The more you learn, the more feedback you get. You start to question yourself. You start to question like,
yes.
should I bring this board game inside my classroom?
Yes.
Should I brought up this idea inside
Mm,
my classroom? So, if you do that, then of course your students, technically, like I told everyone, your students is like a reflection of yourself. If you
mm,
cannot trust yourself, they will not trust you. So,
exactly.
you know,
Actually, I feel like
Yeah.
they can sense our hesitation.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I do. I mean, yes, there's gonna be a lot of self-doubt. There are gonna be a lot of nights. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we stay up until 2 a.m. thinking about it, like, are we doing it right? Can we do it?
Mm,
Especially if
mm,
we are bringing a new method or if we are
mm,
trying to apply new method.
mm,
But
yeah.
if you don't trust yourself, your students can sense it. And yeah, they can tell for real. Because
Mm,
when you don't trust in what you're doing, I mean, I don't wanna raise this, but you are spreading the energy.
mm.
Yes, people can sense it. The energy,
Yeah.
the frequency you are spreading can sense it. And
Yeah.
especially especially like games. Should we open a new room? By the way, I saw you mention this game so many times on your Facebook, and I saw you bring this game into your classrooms a lot, right?
You
You
see.
also have a game that is named Yuki.
Yeah. In English it's called Dream Adventure. Yeah, but
Adventure.
usually I say Dream Adventure, adjective as in adventure.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us more about it before we yeah,
Wrap
before
up.
I think end the discussion. Tell us more about it.
Yeah. So technically, it's not my game. It's a game of my beloved publisher in Saigon, Ngũ Hành Games. As for Ngũ Hành Game, I believe they are the only independent publisher here in Vietnam that would at the same time being the industry expert of the whole board games field in Vietnam as well. So being independent, but at the same time being industry expert is not a small feat, but they pull it off.
Mm,
And I followed them since the very first day I start making games, because they are the only one who makes this work. They are the only one who show board game developers here in Vietnam that earning or making a living out of board games or board game design is doable. So, I I admire to them a lot. I always look up to them. And the uh during 2021 I got, to their contacts and they saw my games and they, talked to me. We kept in touch with one another. And fast forward to 2023, we got to work more a bit, but just as someone helping the others. They gave me a lot of feedbacks, a lot of consultation, and I just share my story to them a lot. And not until 2024, 2025, where I, pull off a lot of events in Hanoi, where I create a big,
mm,
culture of playtesting and, create a platform for indie working developers here in Hanoi. We got a chance to work together. So right now I'm their representative, not like because they offer me a big chunk of cash. I like it's just the idea of bringing Vietnamese culture, bringing Vietnamese history through the medium of board games and spreading it out worldwide into, you know, for foreigners and even like right now what I'm doing is for students and for teachers is like the idea that I have had for such a long time. So it's actually a no-brainer for
mm,
me to work with them while to look into the aspect of games. As for the game Dream Adventure himself is at first they didn't think of any educational aspect of the game. They just make it because they love Saigon so much and they think the game mechanism is pretty cool where you have to guess each other answers and have to understand each other rather than kill each other, like other games. So yeah, they make it and then the day I pick the games up I say, hey, I can use this inside a classroom. I can use
mm,
this to teach descriptive adjectives. I can use this to teach noun phrases that describe something. So, and then, at first it was still unclear about my suggestions, but after I pull it off, like showing a lot of video, showing a lot of research using their games, they believe it, and they believe in me and, my ability of finding educational aspects in these highly entertaining games that, they have published. So yeah, that's game based for you, Game based is that you need to have a game first, not just an
Yes,
educational game, a game. The educational
a
aspect
game.
is, yeah, the educational aspect is like the byproducts of this game. And
Mm.
yeah, it's up to us to find those byproduct aspects. So yeah, you know, long story short, that's it.
That's beautiful though. And how about Ramsey? How about your games?
Oh yeah, I'm still working on that. Some people think that I have dropped my babies, but no, my baby is still growing, even though I'm the single dad for it now.
you still you still right because
Yeah, yeah.
I see you post a lot of games, but I'm not really sure if there are these games or your games.
Oh yeah, I have two games I'm about to release. Well, actually, one game is re-release, and the other is, just demo, like just some demonstration for people to see. But yeah, they will come
Mm.
out real soon, and at this point, my designers and I are working pretty consistent on it. So yeah, hopefully you will see it soon, and I will send you and Miss Emma a copy to Saigon. But yeah,
Thank you, thank you. So
hopefully at that time
people
you will
probably
play a game.
damn it. Okay, okay. I'm gonna prepare for it. Yes, and last but not least, dear teachers, dear our beloved teachers, if you guys are in Hanoi, Mr. Ken will have a workshop, right? On the 31st of August, the last day of
Yes,
August
that's right.
in Hanoi, and we will also drop the link for you to register for that workshop. What are
Oh,
you doing in that workshop? One last minute for you to promote yourself, sir.
yes, shamelessly plug in my workshop at the end. So yeah, at the workshop, I will talk about game-based learning, like the real idea of game-based learning, the comparison with gamification, but in real time, and the idea of how to use game-based learning through board games inside your classroom. Technically, you will learn, you sit down, act like a student of my class, and learn a whole like a 30-minute lesson with a board game called Yuki, like the one we just mentioned earlier. And later on, after that, we'll discuss something before jumping into stations where we play different games, probably like around 8 games. So a lot of games for you to play. And yeah, after that, we'll try to like discuss the ideas through the games, and then at the end of of the workshop, we will have a session for you to create your own tabletop games. Either it can be board games, card games, whatever you want to do, and we will kind of present it in front of everyone and share your teaching ideas through your very own tabletop games. So yeah, that's the workshop.
God, I am jealous. Stay Hanoian. Uh,
Yeah.
so copy that people 8 games, and you can even learn how to create your own tabletop game. So please, I'll drop the link below this videos, even on YouTube or Facebook. And thank you for joining us today. It was a pretty actually we talked about so many things today. I don't
Yeah.
think we even have any specific
Stuff.
topic.
Topic of the day.
Yes,
Stuff.
stuff, stuff. Yes, one good word, stuff. But yeah, thank you, Ken, for making your time. I know you're really, really busy.
You too.
Thank you for sharing a lot of things. And yeah, we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
All right.
Toodles.
Toodles. Bye.
Alright, that's a wrap for this episode of ELT After Hours.
We hope it made you think, or at least made you laugh while grading papers.
If you like it, send it to your favorite teaching buddy or that one coworker who always has too many tabs open.
We'll catch you in the next one. Toodles!